Hey there folks, Santee at the Arizona Ghost Raiders here. Train robbery. Let's look into it. So, the last week or so, I've done a couple of train robberies. When we have downtime between our daily gigs, we're encouraged to do vignettes to increase the enjoyment for the guests. Robbing the train is just one of them. Yeah, go ahead, twist my arm. I've been on the other end of a train robbery, so this is a nice change.
Come on, fella, just open the damn door.
Train robbery was harder than robbing a stagecoach, yet easier than robbing a bank. Let me expound on that. Stagecoaches were fairly straightforward with minimal people, and you really just had to halt their travel with the threat of gunfire. Banks had safes, and potentially a lot of people to get through on your escape. Also, lawmen were likely not too far behind you. Success, as history tells us, was not assured, and many times a huge failure. Trains were stopped in the middle of nowhere and you had a captive audience to steal from. You also had an express car, which, if you did your homework properly, could be carrying a shipment of gold, silver, or other currency. Usually enough to make the effort worthwhile, and like the stagecoach, getting away was pretty easy. The problem was stopping the dang thing. Hundreds of tons of moving steel and wood is not going to slow down for a gun fired in the air. So now you have to get creative. Although you could operate on your own, a gang would be wanted for the big hauls. According to the Pinkerton Detective Agency, the average train robbery band formerly consisted of 5 to 8 men. The James Younger gang had a few methods ranging from lighting bonfires on the tracks to outright derailing the train. Yeah, this is where the Robin Hood mystique starts to fall apart. Innocent people are killed when trains go off tracks. In 1866, the Reno gang boarded a train in Indiana and broke into a safe. There was a second one, and they pushed that out of the moving train to open later. That would have been a smart move if it hadn't been for a posse on their tail, which gave them no time to crack it. An equivalent technique was done in 1899 at a railroad bridge in Wyoming. After uncoupling the cars on one side, the engine was allowed to travel to the other side. Then, the Wild Bunch blew up the bridge. This is also the one where Butch Cassidy used too much dynamite and blew up the train car.
Well, that ought to do it.
A lot of blowing up in this one. Regardless, boarding a train at a stop or when it slowed was a method that was employed frequently. The robbers would enter through the blind baggage platform, which was not visible to the conductors or other employees. Once aboard, they would have control. Originally, this was called the Chapman method, coined after an outlaw whose plan succeeded. In order to combat this, railroad special agents were hired. These were tough, no-nonsense men who didn't hesitate to shoot first and ask questions later. In fact, the Union Pacific Railroad had mounted rangers to stop Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. They had their own train car, full of horses and guns. Eventually, these railroad security forces made train heists very difficult, and we see less and less as the Old West gets settled. We will detail specific ones in future episodes.
Where did you get this guy?
Texas.
Texas? Are you insane?
Yeah.
Well, folks, that's it for another episode. Thanks for watching. Hey, don't forget about Patreon. This week we're actually going a little bit more into detail about some train robberies that have been happening around here at Old Tucson. It's okay, Will. Sam, you okay?
Yeah.
That was good.
All right, as always, please like, share, and subscribe.
Stand and deliver.
There's nobody on the train. Why are you even trying to rob it?
Okay.
Oh,
This is a training session.
we'll see you on down the trail.
had one in my hair. Before I got gray, one hair was coming out and it was clear.
I'm trying to film here. Can you be quiet? It's cows.